Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to start the lecture number 3 of chapter number 7 electrochemistry, and today's topic is galvanic cell. So let's start. Galvanic cell is also known as voltaic cell on the name of Alessandro Volta, who discovered such first cell. And this voltaic cell can be defined as the cell which involves a spontaneous redox reaction. Spontaneous redox reactions means the reaction oxidation reduction reaction which can takes place itself to generate the electricity. When we will arrange the electrochemical cell, because of the electrode potential difference, the electrons will move from one electrode towards another electrode themselves, and they will produce electricity in the voltaic cell. Now we will discuss the construction of voltaic cell. First of all, we will take the two containers and then add the copper electrode in one of the container. And we know that the copper electrode is made up of copper atoms as shown in the diagram. In the second container, we are taking the zinc electrode, and this zinc electrode is made up of zinc atoms. Now we connect the both of the containers with a voltmeter, which is used to calculate the voltage of the cell. This voltmeter is connected with the help of wires, and these wires are composed of neutral atoms. These neutral atoms consist of protons and electrons. Protons are in fixed positions, while electrons are moving from one electrode towards another electrode because of the difference in the electrode potentials of the two electrodes. In the left container, which contain the copper electrode, we are going to add the electrolyte of copper nitrate. This copper nitrate electrolyte converts into copper plus ions and nitrate negative ions. One copper plus 2 ion has plus 2 charge, so 3 copper ions have plus 6 charge, and one nitrate ion has minus 1 charge, so 6 ions have minus 6 charge. In the right compartment, which contains zinc electrode, we will add an electrolyte of zinc nitrate. This electrolyte converts into zinc ions and nitrate ions. One zinc ion contains plus 2 charge, and nitrate ion has minus 1, so 2 nitrates have minus 2 charge. These two compartments are connected with the help of a bridge. This bridge is known as salt bridge, and this bridge contains some type of inert electrolyte like potassium nitrate or potassium chloride, etc. This inert electrolyte exists in the form of ions, that is potassium ions and nitrate ions. Now we will focus on the zinc electrode, which is made up of zinc atoms. As zinc is more active metal, so zinc will act as an anode and it will start oxidizing. Here each zinc atom will lose 2 electrons and convert into the zinc ions. As we can see here, the two electrons of this zinc atom are moving from zinc electrode towards the copper electrode with the help of wires. And the zinc ion, which is formed by losing the electron, that will move in the solution. Here we can see the movement of electrons from zinc to the copper, because zinc atoms on the zinc electrode, they are losing electrons and converting into the zinc ions. Here in the copper electrode, the copper ions, copper plus 2 ions from the electrolyte, they are moving towards the electrode, and they will gain the electrons which are coming from the zinc. As we can see here, the copper plus 2 ions from the electrolyte is moving on the copper electrode to gain the electron. Here the copper ion on the copper electrode is gaining 2 electrons coming from the zinc electrode. And after gaining 2 electrons, it is converted into the copper metal as shown in the equation. And after gaining the copper 2 electrons, copper is deposited as copper metal on the copper electrode. So in the right side, zinc has lost 2 electrons and converted into the zinc plus 2 ion, and in the left side, the copper ions from the electrolyte moved to the copper electrode, and it gained 2 electrons and converted into the copper metal. Now we can see in the left side of the copper electrode, that is, copper ions are less in the number, but nitrate ions are still the same number, because copper ions are used by the electrode and converted into the copper metal. So we are left with plus 4 charge only in the left side instead of plus 6. But nitrate ions are still minus 6 in charge. So there is excess of negative charge in the left compartment. Now we will concentrate towards the right compartment. Here the zinc ions are already present in the electrolyte, but more zinc ions are coming from the zinc electrode, because zinc atoms, they are losing electrons and converting into the zinc ions and coming into the electrolyte. Now the zinc ion in this compartment is plus 4 charge, in the form of plus 4 charge instead of plus 2, and nitrate ions are still minus 2. It means there is excess of the positive charge. Now the salt bridge will play its role to balance the charges in both of the compartments. As we know that there is excess of negative charge in the left compartment, so positive ions from the salt bridge will shift towards this compartment to balance the negative charge. And in the right compartment of zinc electrode, there is excess of positive charge, so the negative ions, that is nitrate ions from the salt bridge, will move towards this compartment to balance the excess of positive charges. Here we can see that nitrate ions are now in the right compartment and potassium ions are in the left compartment. This salt bridge allows the ions to move so that the charges are balanced in both of the compartments. As the ions are moving in the inner circuit of the cell and electrons are moving in the outer circuit of the cell, so because of the movement of these electrons, some voltage is shown by the voltmeter. And here in this case of zinc and copper electrode, the voltage is 1.1 volts. In the right compartment, the zinc atoms of the zinc electrode, they lose electron and convert into the zinc ions. In the left compartment, the copper ions from the electrolyte, they move towards the copper electrode and gain the electrons which are coming from the zinc electrode and convert into the copper metal, and this copper metal get deposited on the copper electrode. In the zinc compartment, we can see that zinc atoms, they are converting into electrons which are moving from zinc electrode towards the copper electrode, and the zinc ions, they are coming in the electrolyte. So the zinc atoms are dissolved from the zinc electrode. So this whole of the zinc electrode will gradually get dissolved. So we can say that in the zinc compartment, the zinc will act as anode because it is more active metal than the copper. So all the zinc atoms on the zinc electrode, they will lose electrons which will move from zinc towards the copper electrode, and zinc ions, they will get dissolved into the zinc zinc nitrate solution. And whole of this reaction is shown here by the equation zinc, which gives zinc plus 2 ions by losing 2 electrons. This reaction will take place at anode. And in the left compartment, copper electrode, which is cathode, it is less active metal than zinc, so it is gaining electrons. And these electron in this compartment, the copper ions from the electrolyte, they will move towards this copper electrode and gain the electrons and convert into the copper metals. So these copper ions, by gaining 2 electrons, they will convert into the copper metal which will get deposited on the electrode, and this reaction is shown by the equation given here. So this was all about the galvanic or voltaic cell. I have given you some related questions. You have to write and learn the answer of these questions. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.